John Bowlby's attachment theory. John Bowlby was born in London, where his father was a well-known surgeon. From an early age, Bowlby was interested in natural science, medicine, and psychology subjects he studied at Cambridge University. After receiving a medical degree, he started his practice in psychiatry and psychoanalysis in 1933. At about the same time, he began training in child psychiatry under Melanie Klein. During World War XI, Bowlby served as an army psychiatrist, and in 1946 he was appointed director of the Department for Children and Parents of the Tavistock Clinic. During the late 1950s, Bowlby spent some time at Stanford's Center for the Advanced Study in the Behavioral Sciences but returned to London, where he remained until his death in 1990. In the 1950s, Bowlby became dissatisfied with the object relations perspective, primarily for its inadequate theory of motivation and its lack of empiricism. With his knowledge of ethology and evolutionary theory, especially Konrad Lorenz's idea of early bonding to a mother figure, he realized that object relations theory could be integrated with an evolutionary perspective. By forming such an integration, he felt he could correct the empirical shortcomings of the theory and extend it in a new direction. Bowlby's attachment theory also departed from psychoanalytic thinking by taking childhood as its starting point and then extrapolating forward to adulthood. Bowlby firmly believed that the attachments formed during childhood have an important impact on adulthood. Because childhood attachments are crucial to later development, Bowlby argued that investigators should study childhood directly and not rely on distorted retrospective accounts from adults. The origins of attachment theory came from Bowlby's observations that both human and primate infants go through a clear sequence of reactions when separated from their primary caregivers. Bowlby observed 3 stages of this separation anxiety. When their caregiver is first out of sight, infants will cry, resist soothing by other people, and search for their caregiver. This stage is the protest stage. As separation continues, infants become quiet, sad, passive, listless, and apathetic. This second stage is called despair. The last stage, the only one unique to humans, is detachment. During this stage, infants become emotionally detached from other people, including their caregiver. If their caregiver, mother, returns, infants will disregard and avoid her. Children who become detached are no longer upset when their mother leaves them. As they become older, they play and interact with others with little emotion but appear to be sociable. However, their interpersonal relations are superficial and lack warmth. From such observations, Bowlby developed his attachment theory, which he published in a trilogy titled Attachment and Loss. Bowlby's theory rests on 2 fundamental assumptions. First, a responsive and accessible caregiver, usually the mother, must create a secure base for the child. The infant needs to know that the caregiver is accessible and dependable. If this dependability is present, the child is better able to develop confidence and security in exploring the world. This bonding relationship serves the critical function of attaching the caregiver to the infant, thereby making survival of the infant, and ultimately the species, more likely. A second assumption of attachment theory is that a bonding relationship, or lack thereof, becomes internalized and serves as a mental working model on which future friendships and love relationships are built. The first bonding attachment is therefore the most critical of all relationships. However, for bonding to take place, an infant must be more than a mere passive receptor to the caregiver's behavior, even if that behavior radiates accessibility and dependability. Attachment style is a relationship between 2 people and not a trait given to the infant by the caregiver. It is a 2-way street. The infant and the caregiver must be responsive to each other and each must influence the other's behavior.